Welcome to this weekly reflection meditation. We're going to start with a grounding exercise. Wherever you are right now, if you're at work, if you're walking, if you're sitting down, if you're relaxing, I want you to take 1 minute to connect with wherever your body is currently touching a supportive surface. A supportive surface is just anything that your body is currently touching that is lifting you up. If you're walking or standing on your feet, it could be the ground supporting you and lifting you up always. If you're lying down, it could be whatever surface is currently holding your body upward. Focus on the physical feeling and the connective points that connect to you and your supportive surface. Visualize each part of your person being supportive by the surface. And say to yourself, I am always, regardless of wherever I am, being supported and being held up at all times. Now that we've grounded ourselves, we're going to allow ourselves to process some difficult things that happened this week. We'll do this part first so we can acknowledge the difficult things that happened instead of suppressing them. Let's start by listing one thing that did not go your way this week. This could be something that was disappointing, a frustrating moment, a period of time where you were sad, a situation that made you feel uncomfortable. Once you have that moment in your mind, I want you to think, how did that situation make you feel in that moment? At the time that you were experiencing it, what were the things that you were feeling? Were you overwhelmed? Were you embarrassed? Did you feel angry? It's important to acknowledge what you felt in the past by saying, in that moment, I felt blank. In difficult situations, we often don't have the time or the mental space to fully acknowledge how it made us feel. So that's what we're doing right now. Now, I want you to remove yourself from how you felt in that moment and think about how you're feeling right now. When you thought about that situation, are there any residual feelings that you have about that event? Maybe you feel weary and emotionally tired. Or maybe you feel guarded or cautious. You could potentially feel intimidated. I want you to focus in on how that situation makes you feel now as you reflect upon it. Lastly, I want you to think to yourself, is there anything that I can do to follow up on this to help me move on? Do I need to journal further and get all of my emotions out about this? Do I need to talk to a trusted person about the situation? Or do I need to have a difficult conversation with somebody who broke a boundary? Or are you ready to move on after thinking about it and processing it right here? Remember, there is no wrong or right answer. You're checking to see what you potentially need to do to allow yourself to move on. Let's return very briefly to our grounding exercise and remind ourselves of where we're connected to our supportive surface at this time. It's often not very fun to recall events that made us uncomfortable. We have a lovely propensity to want to suppress these or move on without processing it. And so I want you to thank yourself for doing that, even though it was hard. And now we're going to focus on a moment this week that made you feel good. Maybe somebody praised you, or you finished a project you were working on. You had a moment of peace reading a book, or maybe you went outside for a walk. Once again, I would like you to envision yourself in that moment. What did you feel emotionally that made you think, wow, this is a good moment right now? Maybe you felt a sense of pride or a feeling of calm wash over you. Perhaps it was very relaxing or exciting or validating. Once you've done this, I want you to come out of the moment and think about how you feel right now. Does it feel good to remember that time? What is it making you feel right now? Do you feel nostalgic? Does it feel like a fond memory? Does it make you feel accomplished? Or perhaps you just feel inspired. You've seen how processing our week can give us some perspective on both the good and the not so good things that happen in our lives. Acknowledging your feelings is a skill that is hard, but gets easier with practice. Return to this meditation when you need a little guidance for reflecting on your day or your week. I hope this brought you some reflective peace, and congrats on getting to know yourself a little bit better. As always, you've got this. Thank you for joining me.